Okay, today I wanted to talk about like restriction and binging and changing your mindset. I've been in this cycle for so long, like the restriction binge cycle. I have a lot of food intolerances. My body reacts strongly to certain foods. And so I would always restrict myself with those foods, or doctors would tell me, you can't have those foods, things like that. And that changed my mindset so much because people usually have, they're usually tendencies of an abstainer, someone who completely abstains from certain foods. They do better with 100% on plan instead of 95% on plan. Or you're a moderator. A moderator is someone who needs to have their scoop of ice cream every night to stay on plan, or their piece of chocolate, or they allow those treats in every day, and that allows them to stay on plan. Now, abstainers, a lot of abstainers are maybe feel like they're addicted to foods. Maybe they feel like they're addicted to sugar and flour. And everybody seems to have their tendencies. These things, moderators and abstainers, are tendencies. So everyone has those tendencies in them, but maybe they play, one is stronger than the other. And so I've been an abstainer for a lot of years. I wasn't an abstainer growing up. I was very intuitive, and I knew like eating candy didn't make me feel good. I never drank pop. It didn't make me feel good. It made me feel sick. I was tested for diabetes, and my stomach, I had so many stomach issues growing up and all these things, but I just didn't eat those things. And if I did, I had a little bit. And so I was a natural moderator growing up. And somewhere down the line, I think my mindset changed because I was told, or I would tell myself, you can't have that. You don't want that. Don't eat that. And then I would do like these challenges, like 100-day challenges of no sugar, no flour, or whatever it was. But that completely changed my mind, and it kind of ended up backfiring in a way. And so I was like, I cannot continue in this cycle of restriction because it just leads me to binge. And you know what? You could also argue that restriction doesn't lead to binging. Binging leads to binging, and that's true. You have the desire or the urge to binge, and that's what leads you to binge. But I was just stuck in this cycle of restriction and then binging, and restriction and binging, and like falling off the wagon, or whatever you want to call it. And so I have become this abstainer, and it's so hard to find that moderator side of myself. So I kind of told myself, okay, I'm going to get out of the cycle. I've been in this cycle for many, many years, and I'm not seeing any progress. I've got to break through that wall somehow. And there's a saying, you have to have a breakdown to get to the breakthrough. And I just kept butting that wall, not able to break through. And so I needed to learn new tactics to break me through that wall, to start seeing success, or to change my mindset. So I had the thought, well, I need to get in tune with my moderator side. And the only way to do that is to say, every food is free. You're able to make your own choices and eat whatever you want. And that literally puts you in a place of power to choose, because I feel like I haven't been in that place of power to choose. And I would tell myself, you can have whatever you want, but you don't want that. But deep down inside, I'm thinking, no, I do want that. I do want to eat that chocolate, And it is true. Like, eating sugar and flour, it doesn't make me feel good. I feel like I have those addictive tendencies, and the more I eat, the more I want. It's really hard for me to control myself with sugar and flour. And I don't know if it's just because I'm not in tune with the moderator side, or if it's truly like an addiction. But the more I would tell myself I'm addicted, the more I would make that true. It's true. Your body achieves what your mind believes. Mindset has so much to do with a lot of things. So this new kind of mindset of allowing myself to eat whatever I wanted, to choose whatever I wanted to eat, it kind of put me in a place to realize, just let it go. And it was so freeing, just no shame, no guilt, because I've been in this cycle so long that if I were to go off plan, I had so much shame, so much guilt if I were to eat sugar and flour or anything. And I became sneaky, I became moody, I became all these things that I didn't like. And so just putting myself in that power position, able to make a choice for me, not thinking about anybody else or anything else, how it's going to make me feel or anything. I just put myself in a place of power to choose for myself. And it felt so freeing, felt so good. And it felt good to try and get in tune with my moderator side of myself, in tune with those moderator tendencies. And it wasn't easy, and it was messy. And sure, I overate and I ate all the things. There's some sort of lesson in all of this. So I didn't feel good. Of course, I'm pretty sensitive to food, but it felt so good to my mind in a way. Eating, things that are not nutrient dense, eating all the sugar and the flour, it doesn't make my body feel good. And it probably doesn't make anybody feel good, but my body reacts pretty strongly. And, so I got all the symptoms, all the blurry vision, the headaches, the stomach pain, the digestion woes, the fatigue, lethargic, dizziness, shakiness, blood sugar all over the place, the sores in my mouth and in my throat, cold sores, and all sorts of crazy stuff. But you know what? It was my choice. I did it. No shame or guilt. Kind of discouraging because I felt pretty crappy and I had a lot of tears over it because I knew that's what would happen and I was hoping for something different. But the more I do this, the more I've done this, the more I've eaten things like that, it always comes back to me in a negative way. But you know what? Out of the victim mentality, I still can choose, and nobody's gonna tell me you can't eat that. And I'm not going to tell myself you can't eat that because I have the power to choose. There are no good and bad foods. Sure, some foods are more nutrient dense. They give you vitamins and minerals and nutrients, and they help keep you fuller longer, and they make you feel good. And but it's okay to have a treat once in a while. It's okay to try and eat in moderation. Now, here's the tricky part, because it still is hard for me to eat in moderation. If I were to have a cookie, it would be hard for me to stop at just one. No matter how hard I try to plan it in my macros or do that, it's still really hard. And I know it's going to take some practice, but I know I do not need to tell myself, you have to be perfect, you have to go without sugar and flour for 100 days. I'm no longer going to tell myself that because it doesn't serve me in any way. And it just brings me back to the shame or the guilt if I do fall off plan. And it's not a long-term plan for me because I know I'm not going to never have sugar and flour forever. As much as it feels so good for my mind to say, you're not going to have sugar and flour forever, and that's just the way that you are, I know it's not going to happen, and I don't want it to happen. For a long time, I wanted that to be me. I wanted it to happen like that, but I know long term, that's not going to make me happy. I know those things don't make me feel good, but I know if I choose them once in a while, that's my choice, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. So now I am back to still keeping that in my mindset, and also knowing I don't have to be perfect. Perfection is the enemy of good, and consistency is key. So I know doing this, having my mindset be in this way that I can have whatever I want and I can make a choice in any moment to eat whatever I want, that is going to set me up for more long-term success. And everybody's different. If you do really well with, a structured, strict plan, and you can do that long-term, then that is awesome. I have done really well with structure. I do well with structure. I still do well with structure and strict plans, but long-term success, I know I don't want to keep spinning my wheels and being where I'm just hitting a wall. I want to do something different to see if I can get success that way. And still mentally feel good, mentally and physically. So no, I don't want to have the body aches that come from all these food sensitivities. I don't want to be lethargic. I don't want to have shortness of breath. I want to have more energy. I want to, eating healthy food is important to me, but I'm not going to say that foods are off limits anymore. I'm not going to say that I have to be perfect anymore. If I want to choose to eat birthday cake on my birthday, I just might. Those foods don't make me feel good, but they sure do taste good. And sometimes I might want to have them. And I'm trying this new mindset to get me into a different cycle. And it already is working. I can tell that I already am getting a little better at moderation, which is crazy to me because for so long, I've been the person who felt like I'm addicted to sugar and flour, and it doesn't make me feel good mentally. It doesn't make me feel good physically. And there's no way I could ever be a moderator. But you know what? I'm starting to get better and better at it the more I practice. Nutrient-dense foods help me achieve my goals much better. And so that is my choice, to eat mostly nutrient-dense foods. I do well with the bright line eating structure, which I'll talk more about that later. But I love the structure of the meals from bright line eating, but I'm not going to say I'm never going to have sugar and flour again, and I'm not going to strive to be perfect. So keeping the bright line eating meal structure, but also following macros really helps me. And saying I'm not going to be perfect and allowing myself to make a choice in any given moment to have a treat if I want to. And in that moment, I need to get better at saying, okay, does this align with my goals? Or does this align with what I want right now in this moment? Whether it aligns with my goals or whether it's about, baking with my kids or whatever. In that moment, it's gonna need to align with what I want to achieve in that moment. So it's so crazy to me to be in this new mindset and to truly believe that when I say to myself, I can have that, but I don't want it, and that actually being true instead of me lying to myself saying, no, I really do want that. You know what? I can look at a cookie and say, I don't want that. And sometimes I do want that, but I put myself in a position of power to make a choice in any given moment, and saying that foods are off limits is not me anymore. And I can still eat for my health. I can still feel good, but allowing those treats or foods that I really love sometimes is okay for me. And I'm not gonna have any shame or guilt around it. I'm still gonna eat mostly nutrient-dense foods, but I'm not gonna have any shame or guilt if I have a piece of cake. And I think I'm gonna get better at being able to control myself with sugar. Mindset work is awesome. And you can change and you can break through that wall if you've been spinning your wheels or trying to break through this wall, or just remember that whatever you tell yourself, you will believe. And I'm excited for this new kind of identity shift, and I hope this helps someone else.